Blyth Battery is located on the northeast coast of England. It was built in 1916, to protect the port of Blyth. The battery complex is outlined in yellow, and is located to the south of the port entrance. The gun emplacements are located at the southern end of the battery complex, with the ammunition stores behind and below the guns. There are 2 gun emplacements, which by World War II, have been upgraded to 6-inch naval guns. Today, there are 2 replica guns installed, which were fitted in 2019. Slightly further north from the guns, are 2 ranging and observation towers. The octagonal design dates from the First War. By World War II, the original tower was considered obsolete, and a new observation building was built nearby. Around 440 yards north of the observation towers, is a searchlight battery. There are 2 light emplacements, while the building behind, I'm presuming, was a generator house and probably other facilities. It was a sunny drive north in the Dodge until I turned east to head for the coast. The temperature dropped and I drove into mist, which got thicker the closer I got to the coast. As the evening drew on, it got colder, and the mist thickened to the point where visibility dropped to a few yards. Thankfully, much of the mist had cleared by morning. The main show field held the Allied World War II displays. Most of these were dioramas, with just a few vehicles, including my own Dodge. This field is located just to the north of the battery and observation towers. To the rear of the observation towers, were a selection of both World War II and post-war military vehicles. A selection of those vehicles are shown here, and include Land Rovers, Jeeps, an Austin Champ and Morris Traveller. Behind the battery, next to the other battery buildings, were more Jeeps and classic cars. I think those Jeeps and cars were just day visitors, and didn't camp over. As can be seen from the Jeep pictures, the sun even managed to make an appearance. Just a bit further along from the classic cars, was a gazebo where various artists performed 1940s and 1950s music. To the south of the battery, the displays were mostly Axis forces, although there were a few Allied displays. There was also an area for the battle, which was held both days. There were more displays around the searchlight battery. These included World War I, World War II, and post-war. One of the vehicles there was another Dodge, the same type as mine. We'll go for a wander around the main show field now, starting with my Dodge, trailer and tent. Moving clockwise around the field was the Hand-Me-Down Brigade, and I think next to them was the Durham Light Infantry display. There were modern stalls and traders along the rest of this side of the field. Heading back up the other side of the field, was the Royal Marines Commandos display. Next to the Commandos, was a smaller than usual display by yesterday's heroes. The 7th Royal Northumberland Fusiliers were next, with a sizable display of weapons and field kit. Alongside the Fusiliers, was the Free French display. Beside the French was the Royal Navy Beach Assault display. There was another tent beside the Beach Assault diorama, but I don't know whether this was a separate display. At the end of the row was the U.S. Army press display of cameras and a field office. Across the end of the field was the Edinburgh Local Defence Volunteers display. And at the end of the row across the top of the field was the 4th Indians Camp. That was all of the displays around the edge of the field. The center of the field had more displays. A medical diorama was located close to my Dodge. The Fighting Elite display took most of the rest of this side of the center of the field. Another Jeep was parked across the bottom end of the center field. There was another medical display on the other side of the center part of the field, and beside that was the Home Guard. I think that was all of the main show field dioramas. Moving on now to the Searchlight Battery area, where there were a mix of vehicles and dioramas from several eras. Here's a quick look around the vehicles and displays. First off is a FV107 Scimitar. Next are 2 Daimler Ferrets. Looking south, back towards the battery, we have a Bedford MW. The S Company, Op 485 display, included a couple of Land Rovers, along with a selection of weapons and kit from the 1960s to 1990s. One of the more unusual displays is Hangar 1914. They are building a full-size replica of a World War I Sopwith tabloid biplane. This is a complete aircraft at the RAF Museum, Hendon in London. It shows what the finished article will look like. The rotary engine is 3D printed, with the front fuselage, undercarriage and propeller under construction. In addition to the aircraft, they also had a number of hand tools on show, along with a World War I bomb sight. There were some large trucks parked up at the Searchlight Battery, including this Austin K5. Alongside the Austin was a GMC, CCKW353, the long-wheelbase version of the truck. Here's a closer look at the WC-51 Dodge that was beside one of the Searchlight buildings. We now move to the south of the battery for the mainly Axis displays. I don't know which groups were there representing the German forces. Opposite the beginning of the German diorama, was a Special Operations Executive display. There was also a collection of airborne equipment, a little further on from the SOE group. There were more German dioramas beyond the airborne display. Alongside the main car park, were several more modern military vehicles and weapons. These were the last of the visiting displays at the event. There were of course the permanent exhibits inside the various battery buildings, but they aren't covered here. There was a battle between the Allied and German forces at noon on each day. I've added a few still images from the preparation, but I've already uploaded a video of the battle. I'll add a link to that below, and at the end of this video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and check out some of my other videos.